Hey, welcome to Remarkable Results Radio. Carm Capriato, the Automotive Aftermarket's premier podcaster for 8 years now. You know, the majority of our podcasts are available on YouTube, my YouTube channel, Carm Capriato. Please subscribe. Love to have you come by because I would say 80-90% of everything that we do in audio is available on video. And sometimes it's really cool to be able to you can see a picture of the person on your podcast player, but it's really nice to watch us in action on the video. Welcome, Tom Sciortino. Hi, Tom.
Hey, great to be here, Con.
Thanks for coming back. You've been on a couple of times, and I sure appreciate your wisdom. We are friends. Tom has a shop in our Buffalo, Western New York community, Total Automotive, Tonawanda, New York. He is in the IPAS group, the Independent Professional Auto Service Group here in Buffalo. He's on the college board with me at Erie Community College. So we do a lot of things. And recently, Tom came up to me, Carm, I finally hired a coach. Oh, and he started to slobber me up one side and then the other because everything you've been saying, and I said, good, you got to come on the podcast and tell the world about it. So he's here as, if you will, a brand new shop owner that has recently hired a business coach. So here's what we're going to do. A team is we're going to decide to try to dispel the 5 excuses not to hire a business coach. And Tom, I think, can have fun with this with me. And I wrote a blog a little bit ago, maybe earlier this year, and I came up with these 5 excuses. Number 1, it's too expensive. I can't afford it. Number 2, I don't need a business coach because I can do it myself. Number 3, I'm too busy and I don't have time to work with a coach. Number 4, I'm afraid of what my peers will think if they find out I hired a business coach. And number 5, I'm clueless. I have no idea how to start. So, Mr. Tom, you're so happy because now Tom I saw him at a meeting. He says, my numbers are here and this is happening over there and I'm working. And so it was so to see you energized, to see you so excited. And I guess to have an idea where your business could be headed with all these great new things you're doing.
You know, I've used every one of those excuses over the 37 years I've been in business. You're spot on with your blog. I could have wrote it.
Yeah, I bet you.
But I'm telling you, it is a refreshing view to step back. I've been in business 37 years. I should have done it 25 years ago. But coaching wasn't what it is right now. And it's a lot different now. So, I took a fresh look at it and it was for me this time.
So you got over the it's too expensive thing.
And that's it. When you're in business and you're tied up with being in the shop, managing the employees, managing everything that's going on, you're trying to pay the bills, trying to feed your family. You can't see the light of spending that kind of money up front for a business coach and not having the answer whether it was going to work.
And is it because now you're making a little bit extra that makes it easier, or should it have been an investment that you put in to the business like you would buy a piece of equipment?
And like I said, coaching has changed. It's a whole different perspective. The first time I looked at it, which was probably 15, 20 years ago, they wanted you to sign a contract long term. They wanted a commitment from you long term. Now, it's more of a month to month commitment. Let's review it every month. Let's make sure it's for you. So you're not on the hook for a huge amount of money right up front. And you know what? It's you've got to make the decision to get out of your own way and take a chance once in a while in your business, and that's the biggest thing.
I agree with you. I don't think coaches today want a client that isn't happy. And if they don't show up for a conference or a meeting and they've got an attitude, but that client knows that they're barreled into a long-term payment, I think you're spot on as to where it's going.
And it's got to be a good fit. The coach has to be somebody you're comfortable with, somebody you can work with. And my coach, John Waffler, is he's just the fit I needed. I found a comfortable feeling the very first conversation I had with him.
Knuckles. We all know are important connection points between the wheel and the vehicle suspension, connecting hubs, bearings, calipers, struts, and control arms. Steering and suspension knuckles often need replacement after collisions, curb strikes, or rust-related issues, and bearings can simply wear out, often after 75,000 miles. Unfortunately, when it comes time to replace a knuckle or a press-in bearing, there's often rust. That can result in hours of labor that require a shop press and risks potentially damaging the knuckle or backing plate. Dorman has created a time-saving solution with their loaded knuckles. These knuckles are complete assemblies that are tech-preferred. They are an easy bolt-on solution for difficult bearing and knuckle replacements that save significant time and money for you and your customer. An OE fix is a Dorman repair solution you can't get from the original equipment manufacturer, and it means they found a situation where they believe the OEM wasn't giving repair professionals what they wanted, so we fixed it. Everything Dorman does is centered around providing customer value, both in the quality of products and the creativity of solutions. Our engineers and designers, well, they go out of their way to save repair technicians time and save vehicle owners money. Replacing rear-wheel bearings on some Toyota trucks can be extremely frustrating. The bearing housing often becomes damaged when the old bearing is pressed out or when the new bearing is pressed in. Not only that, but a shop press may or may not be available. To assist with jobs like this, Dorman has developed a 90-plus minute time-saving solution with their OE Fix pre-assembled axles. These bolt-on solutions eliminate the uncertainty of performing this basic repair with all of the major components such as the axle, bearing, backing plate, bolts, and seals already assembled and ready to install right out of the box. Want to learn more about Dorman's innovations? Well, visit dormanproducts.com/tour. The other really cool thing, Tom, I don't know, I'll just explain this, that there's another individual in the Western New York area that Tom is pretty good friends with that has the same coaches in the same coaching company, same group, I believe, right, John?
Yep.
Tom?
We're together.
Yeah, the guy's name is John. And that, I think, for you brought some comfort?
The funny part about that is I had done all my research. I took probably a year researching coaching companies, and when I finally came to a decision, I knew John had a coaching company that he had great success with, but I didn't know which one it was. So I called him and I said, "Hey, who do you have as your coaching company?" And it was the same one. So we
That
we
you
were
ended
very
up,
comfortable.
that cream to the top of your list.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Wow.
the one I had decided on, and he also had that company.
Wow. My number 2 of 5 excuses is I don't need a business coach because I'm smart enough. I can do it myself.
Well, I mean, I when I presented it to my staff, I said, "I haven't had a boss in 37 years, and now I have a boss." And, so, I haven't had to answer to anybody for a long time, and I went into business for that reason, but it's nice to have somebody that you can bounce ideas off of and work with.
Tom, I thought your wife Ann was your boss.
Uh, yeah, absolutely. She definitely, runs the office area, and
She
that's her
ranks up
domain.
there. She ranks up there.
Yep.
Yeah, so fine. You can do it yourself, and are you learning something new each and every month?
You know what? I compared it to going to business management school and getting my MBA at 60 years old because I'm learning more now than I ever knew. I was a self-taught business owner. I just watched people and learned from everybody as I went and taught myself how to run a business.
There's nothing wrong with that if you're super out of the box, incredibly successful, but based on the stuff that's coming at us, forget about the technology that's going on inside the vehicle. It's just apps and culture and customers and marketing, all the tools that we have. And if we're not playing in that forward progress arena and we're not using our network and we're not using our coach who's got probably a longer visor on than you do, you're losing out.
Young business owners that are coming in and new business owners, they don't have the luxury of taking all the time that I did to learn the business. They need to come in running, and the best way to do it is with a coach that from day number one, when you open your doors, can show you the correct path to success. I made a lot of mistakes over the years and learned from them. Nowadays, you make a few mistakes, you're going to be out of business.
I don't want to call your 37 years of hard knocks learning being stubborn, but for let's say for 28 to 29 years of that, the coaching industry wasn't as solid as it is today, isn't as good as it is today. So there really wasn't a lot of resources to go to. There were a few, but not a lot, not as abundant as we are today. And so there's nothing wrong with where you are because you finally said, "Hey, look, I need to do this." So many young people, Tom, that I continue to talk to, hear from, have on the show, aren't waiting around. I mean, I believe they've done the research and it says, "Hey, I don't know what I don't know, so I need to get some help." And I think our industry is going to be so much better for it in the future.
Oh, absolutely. And the amount of wealth and knowledge that's out there with all the coaches, no matter who you pick, the coaches are phenomenal. They've done all the research. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just go ahead and learn from them. And you're not going to like every idea they give you. We'll talk and I'll say, oh, that doesn't fit my business. And you pick and choose and you use the ones that are going to be a good fit for your business, and you got to make sure your staff's on board. That's one of the biggest things that I'm working with is bringing my staff along and showing them the light down the road.
And is that a bigger challenge than you thought?
No, actually, it wasn't. We've already made some changes that they're pretty happy about. I'm closed on Saturdays now, first time in 37 years.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
when I announced it at the meeting a couple weeks before Memorial Day that we were closing on Saturdays, it was like a party atmosphere. So they were on board.
It is so much fun at our monthly meetings. There's one of our shop owners, Jim Flushman, is also closed on Friday, and there's this constant little interesting friction that goes on between him and the other guys that are open 6, and then Tom announces he's down to 5. And so it's friendly friction, and it's showing everyone else that Tom has some stones.
Well, you know what? You don't know what you don't know, and you don't know if you don't try it. So, you know what? When I presented to my staff, I said, "Hey, the ball's in your court. If we can make this work and be productive in 5 days, I'm all on it." So, they know that the changes we're making are for the future, and if they can um, still produce and increase on 5 days, well, then we're good with it.
You made them whole on their payroll, you showed them a way?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, the way it worked out, they actually wound up with extra overtime throughout the week because they're working full shifts now instead of a 6-hour shift.
Ah. Ah, as
So,
you were managing your payroll. I
yeah,
see.
yeah. So it actually turned out in their favor as a pay increase.
So, DIY, probably not smart unless you went to that college. So I'm gonna go for a college course and take some extension courses or something.
Business automotive, they don't teach you automotive business,
Just
and
ju Yeah, just what I wanted you to say. Thank you. Thank you. Go to any local school and you will learn business. You will learn a little on financial statements, but not the way we do it.
exactly, not the way we do it. And automotive is kind of a unique business, as we all know. There's hurdles we have to hop over all day long, and they don't teach you that in business school. So,
Yeah.
they'll give you the basics on how to run the numbers, but not how to run a business.
So, I believe at one of our recent meetings, you got up and said, "I hired a business coach." Didn't you do that?
I did, I did.
And
I,
did anyone come up to you? I mean, my number 4 excuse was, "I'm afraid of what my peers will think if they find out that I hired a business coach." And my thought was, did anyone come up to you and not necessarily say, "Now, why did you do that?" Or, "Wow, oh, Tom, tell me about it." People are curious today?
People are curious, and you know what? The people that came up to me, ones that had coaches, said congratulations, and
Ah.
the ones that didn't have coaches were kind of looking at me like, I thought you had an successful business. You didn't need any help. You've done pretty well. Why do you need a business coach? And I explained them, that I'm taking a fresh look.
What's interesting is, why do you need a business coach? Well, you've been in business for 37 years. My God, I mean, I should look up to you. And you say, hey, great, I could probably teach you a bunch of great things. But there's a level of, if you're not reading and you're not, in a network group that isn't a business network group, you are probably missing stuff along the way. Stuff is falling off of your bandwidth, if you will, of your uptake, and things that you could literally implement.
Yep. You know what? And I'm just going to get personal for a minute here. I turned 60 this year, and 60 was a big year for me. You've talked on your shows how you have your milestones
Yeah,
throughout, your lifetime, and I've heard you
yeah,
say that.
yeah.
Well, 60 was one for me. 50 and 40 and all those didn't really bother me. But 60 was like, I have to prepare for the next 10 years. Okay. 70. What am I going to be doing at 70? So that's where I went with this whole thing, why now was more of a right time for me. And I want to be able to leave the business in a condition to go forward beyond me. And, as you know, Chris is my service writer manager. And, I want to put the business in a position where he can run it on his own without me being around every day.
Hearing more and more of that, Tom. I know a succession plan is important, but also the legacy of how hard you worked without being there. If it can continue, you're going to get those kinds of pearls of wisdom through the coaching experience that you have now. And I can't imagine how excited you are after every coaching call and every network. Wait till you go to a networking group. You're going to come away with 2 yellow pads full of notes.
Next month, middle of July, we go to
Oh.
my first one. So it's going to be an experience. I got the list of preparation notes, and I was a little overwhelmed with those, but we'll work through it and figure it out.
And there's the accountability piece right there. I love
Yep.
that. You say,
Yep.
oh my God, I got homework.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so, my fifth excuse was, I'm clueless about where to start, but you did kind of explain that you did the research and you kept shortening your list.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, I'll go back to it. You got to feel comfortable with the coach that you finally settle on. That's the biggest piece. And the overwhelmed part is, where do I start after that first phone call, after the first meeting, and you get set up with them? You have 10 things, 20 things on your list, and where do I start? What's the priority of taking care of the items you need to fix that you didn't really know you had to fix? So that's the overwhelming part, is becoming focused on what you need to fix first in a specific order.
So many shop owners that I chat with, how did you end up with X as your coach? Well, I interviewed him, talked to him. He cared about interviewing me. He didn't want to take on a client that didn't feel had the right reasons and the right discipline, and we didn't have compatible personalities. And I would also ask the coaches, have you ever, anybody fire each other? He says, yeah, it happens all the time when it just doesn't work out. It's every relationship is not intended to be forever.
Oh, absolutely. And it's no different than an employee or anything else in your life. If it's not working, you got to fix it. And the coaching companies are well aware that they're not a good fit for everybody. And it goes both ways. If the business owner isn't comfortable, he'll make the decision. If the coaching company feels that they're not going to be able to help you, they're going to let you know.
Yeah.
So,
So one of the things that I know that coaches can help is identify blind spots, giving you a different objective perspective on things that are going on inside your business. And it seems to me that one of your blind spots was that 6 day a week thing.
yeah, yeah, that was definitely costing me money. I was taking um, full-time employees, my better techs, taking them off a Tuesday or a Thursday during the week and making them work a Saturday, a shorter shift. And Saturdays, we were limiting what we were doing, as far as we didn't want any headaches at the end of the week. So we were doing oil changes, inspections, tires, our lowest profit margin jobs we were doing on Saturdays as a convenience only to our customers. And so we were finding out that Saturdays were a non-profitable day for us. It was more of a convenience item. So we made the switch. You always have those few customers that are Saturday regulars. And when we explained it to them, they understood. They're like, thanks, have a good life, enjoy your weekends now. So,
So what are you
um,
doing on Saturdays? Are you working on the classic cars in the barn?
we're figuring out, I got a lot of property, so it takes a
Yeah,
lot to maintain this place out here.
yeah, I know, I know. Yeah, you probably live maybe 8 miles from me, right?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
as they say, over the hill.
Yeah, yeah, he lives over the hill. We live out in God's country, and beautiful, beautiful piece of property. So, when you spoke to your coach, how soon into this relationship did he say, or did you ask, "Listen, let's take a look at my top line and how we can grow sales and how we can be more productive with the cars that we have?"
The very first thing that he identified, now, he has never seen my shop. He's never been in my shop. He just knows what he knows from talking to me, looking at my website, and looking at my numbers. The first thing he told me was to limit my schedule, slow down, and that was an unbelievable statement. Chris looked at me like I had three eyes on my head. He said, "This is never going to work," because we were used to going 100 miles an hour, fitting as many cars in as we could in a day. And we slowed our schedule down. As soon as we did that, within 2 weeks, our average ticket went up, all of our KPIs went up, and our schedule went from being 3 to 5 days out. We are now 16 days out on our schedule. And we're now booking like the 22nd, I think it was yesterday, of the month.
Because you're taking less cars and the customers are okay with it?
Yep, yep. We've learned to manage the schedule. If it's an inspection or an oil change, something that can be put off for tire rotation, we stretch those appointments out. We leave some room for breakdowns, tow-ins, that type of stuff. Grinding brakes, whatever. So we're still serving the needs of the customer in the emergency situation, but each technician is able to take more time on the cars, check, not that we weren't checking them out completely, but checking them out, having the time to sell the job and having the time to do the work that day. So rather than making another appointment and bringing that car back in, that was huge. The second thing he told me was to limit the amount of waiters so that we didn't have that technician feeling rushed. He's got a waiter hanging up on the hook to get in. So we slowed down the waiters to just two a day now, and that made a huge difference. Less pressure on the service writers because they know they don't have customers sitting there waiting to get the estimates written.
Was this anything that you ever dreamed or imagined you'd do, or did it take your coach to tell you or to nudge you?
I pay attention to trends in the industry. I'm always watching stuff, watching your show, watching other podcasts, and I knew it was a trend in the industry to limit waiters. I kind of shook my head like, how the heck can I ever do that? And now that I've done it, we designed it in such a way that we have two time slots. We have a 9 o'clock and a 2 o'clock waiting appointment. And if you want to wait for your car, if that's 16 days from now, well, that's the time slot I have available for a waiting appointment. If we can certainly get you in sooner on a drop off appointment if you'd like to drop the car off. So by using that type of script, customers will go, "Oh, yeah, no, no, that's no problem. I'll drop the car off." So we've been able to nicely trend our customers more to drop off.
So interesting. And your service advisor, Chris, was skeptical, but he's now totally bought in.
He came up to me 2 weeks after we started. He goes, "I didn't think this was going to work, but it's amazing." So he's all in, and we added a second service writer full time.
He thought you were nuts, boss.
Yep, yep. Well, a lot of people have thought that over the years.
Wow. Well, so we did an episode with Tom back in March, Aftermarket Weekly episode 150, and we had a tour of his brand new ADAS equipment. How's it going?
It's going good. We're taking calls on a regular basis now. I've trained two guys to do that, so they're cross-trained. Either one of them can do my ADAS calibrations now. Shops are starting to find out it's a word's hitting the street, and we're getting some traction on it. So it's working out good. Actually, last night I attended a training session, not to learn more about it, but just to network with shops that are actually interested in it. So, making contact that way through other training.
Well, it's interesting if someone goes to learn about ADAS and you say, "Oh, I got it, by the way. So if in the meantime you could come to my place."
That's exactly what I did, and it it worked out good. Actually, the instructor used me as kind of a knowledge base in this room, so it's kind of nice.
Cool. Love it. Hey, thank you for sharing your inner soul as it comes to the decision that you made to get a coach at the young, ripe age of 60, figuring that, what do you got? Another 10 good solid years, and you just want to, I mean, you're probably going to end up with 5 stores someday, huh?
Well, my wife will say I'll never retire, so I got a lot more years in me.
Yeah, yeah. My wife Ann and your wife Ann are so much alike. I know, I get it. Hey, Tom, thanks for being here and telling us all about your startup with a coach and how important it's been to you and how it's really affected your business. Tom Sciortino from Total Automotive in Tonawanda, New York. Thanks, Tom.
Hey, thanks, Carm.